How you doing? I'm Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com. Today's video is about luck, or stop believing that luck is going to play any major role in you quitting drinking alcohol, right? Because it's not, right? You know, people say to me, oh well, do you know, you were lucky because you moved to Spain, you were lucky because you didn't have this, you were lucky because of that, you know. Luck didn't come into it, you know. It took a long time for us to move to Spain. It took a long time for me to get the alcohol out of my head. You know, it's taken a long time to build alcohol mastery to where it is now, you know. A lot of hard work, and you know, opportunities arise, and you do get luck on the way, you get a bit of fortune on the way, but that fortune only comes about because you're already putting yourself in the position of that, you know. You know, anyone that believes in luck, or luck as a defining thing in their lives or in somebody else's life, you know, most people who talk about luck are sort of giving it to other people and saying, well, they got where they were because of luck, you know. She got where she is because of luck. He got where he is because of luck, you know. And there's a certain amount of that. I mean, you're lucky to come out of a certain vagina, and that's it, you know. If you happen to come out of the Queen's vagina, then you're a prince. Simple as that. If you happen to come out of some other vagina, then you're going to be somebody else. If you happen to come out of a poor woman living in the suburbs of some massive Indian city, then you're going to be poor, you know. You're going to be born poor. Doesn't mean to say you have to stay poor. You know, there's plenty of people who have gone on to do fantastic things in their lives because they didn't take that as the end result. You know, they had a growth mindset and they believed that their life was in their control. Now, I think I'm incredibly fortunate to have been born with two eyes in my head, two legs underneath me, two arms, and sufficient intelligence to push myself forwards, right? Most people have got that. There was a guy that I did a video on a couple of years back. I can't remember the guy's name now, but he was born with no arms, no legs. Basically, really, he's just a torso and a head. And this guy is, when you listen to him, he's one of the happiest people that you could come across, you know. You know, and he goes water skiing and skydiving. I mean, he's skydiving on his own, right, without any arms or legs, right? He's got nothing to land on except his arse. You know what I mean? He's got nothing to pull the cord with, you know, except his head and his mouth. So how do you water ski with no arms? How do you hold on to something with no arms, you know? Have a look at this guy. He's on YouTube. I can't remember his name. I'll put his name down below, or here. Look here. There's his name. Look. This is somebody who was born with what he was born with, and he could have looked at it as misfortune and said, "Well, yeah, this is shit luck, isn't it? You know, what am I going to do? I might as well just lay here all day and feel sorry for myself and get everyone else to feel sorry for me." You know. I used to know this guy, Blind Billy, everyone used to call him. He was a Northern Irish fella, and he used to always call me a Fenian bastard. And his problem was that his blindness came about through not luck, but his own stupidity. He lost one eye through heroin use. He got an infection in his eye because of whatever, I don't know. Yeah, God knows. Did he stick the needle in his eye? I don't know. But anyway. And then, because he wanted everyone else to feel sorry for him, and he felt sorry for himself, he was locked up in prison for something, obviously to do with drugs, and somebody in prison poked out his other eye, pulled his eye out of his head. Gross, I know, but this was a fact. But both those things he brought on himself, and he was just he was a sneaky, horrible person. You know, he was just, he'd let people take him down to town for a drink and stuff like that, you know, and then he'd get in fights with them, deliberately start fighting them, and then when they were beating him up, he'd say, "Hey, I'm blind, this fella's attacking me," and he'd get the other fella get the shit kicked out of him, you know. Obviously you could only do that so long, but hey, I don't know where he is now. He's probably, I don't know. But anyway, that's somebody who's saying they're unfortunate, you know, they haven't got the look in life. And there's plenty of people around like that. Look, where I'm going with this is that quitting drinking and persevering with it and pushing through is all about self-control. It's all about having that determination, right? And basically pushing through regardless of what happens in your life. You're not going to give in, right? You're persistent, you're dogged. And that's hard work. There's no luck about it, right? You know, being on a motorway, right, in a car, and your car hitting some oil on the road and spinning, and a truck behind you hitting some oil on the road and spinning, and then that truck missing you by an inch, right, and you coming to a stop against the barrier, check yourself out and there's nothing wrong with you. That's luck. Everything else takes time, it takes work, it takes effort. If you want to quit drinking, it takes effort. Saying no to people in the first few days and putting up with the discomfort and putting up with the sleepless nights and the boredom and all that kind of crap, that's all work. It takes hard work, but it's all worth it, right? There's no luck involved. You know, you take what you're given and you work with that. That's it for today. I'm Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com. Stay safe, keep the alcohol out of your mouth. Give us a thumbs up if you like this video. Until next time, good luck to you, onwards and upwards.